Hello comrades, yes it's me and I'm back again. And today, comrades, from the deepest state in communist controlled Wales, from a secret corner, I'd like to talk about the railway line. And that is in particular the Cambrian line. So, as you might or might not be aware, for some reason that is going to have its service reduced. Now, that's quite disappointing for me because one of the reasons I moved here is because this train line provides exceptionally good service. And in my time being here, lots of people like it and use it. And they use it for various reasons. But I do feel I need to give you a little bit of background. So, the people who've made the changes are Transport for Wales. And as you can see, on this slide I've now put up, it says here it's owned by the Welsh Ministers. Now, I'm going to take issue with that to begin with because we actually pay the Welsh Ministers, we pay Transport for Wales using our public money. They take taxes from us. So essentially, it's a public owned business and there they've called it limited. So it's our business owned by the public for the public. We pay for it, therefore we should have a say in it. Unfortunately, in these somewhat dystopian times we live, that doesn't seem to be the case, but I forever wish and hope onto it. So, one of the Welsh ministers who must have taken over new ownership of this is this bloke called Ken Stakes. Ken Stakes, yes. And the other bloke who had it before him must have been Lee Waters. Now, I genuinely don't think that they own it. I think they're looking after it on our behalf. However, as we well know, they are very chosen to ignoring us. So let me get to the crux of the matter. On this line they have decided, using some bizarre logic, and this is a bizarre logic, to reduce the service. So essentially they are imposing a blanket ban on any services running after 7 PM. And I found this little beaut of a bit of a logic here by this bloke called Colin Lear. So, and he is a planning and performance director for Transport for Wales. Now, it says, the proposed new timetables will provide us with more resilience in the winter period. I don't really know how he sees that. And now he says, nearly every service Transport for Wales operates requires public money, subsidiary, right? Now, I'm going to correct him there because every cent you get is from the public anyway. And I'll take you back to your opening statement on your slide. Transport for Wales, it's owned. Now, unless the Welsh Ministers are secretly funding this from a slush fund, I'm going to disagree with you and I'd like to see your maths for that. Anyway, the logic works like this according to him. Savings made on some of the quieter services, particularly during winter months, are being used to support strengthening service on the Cambrian coast during the busy summer period, where we can provide a real economic boost to the area through longer trains. Now let me double check this logic. So this is what we own. This is a Cambrian railway line. Now remember they're saying that they're going to reduce the services in winter to boost it in summer. Okay, so if you live on this train line here, which you now own, it's basically your train set, is what he's saying is that all these places here in the evening, they don't need any income from locals. So let's go through a few different examples I can think of myself. So I often like to get on a train and go for a drink with some mates. And we might go to Barmouth, might go to Portmadoc, might go to Pwllheli. There you go, right? Now then, we might get a say 7 o'clock train and get the last train back, or 5 o'clock and vice versa. Now we can't do that anymore. That means we can't take our income, our money, to a local pub, local food place. That's not going to happen. So already this great plan has failed because these tourist places will not be open because they can't survive during winter. So I don't know where the logic is. Now, let me just then take it a step further. So the step further is, let's just say I work in a care home and I have to go look after people or whatever it is job I do, work in a shops, a pub, a restaurant. And that restaurant they're happy for me to get the last train at home, which might be at 10 o'clock. So let's just say, pretend I live in Barmouth, but I work in, say, I don't know, Aberystwyth or Machynlleth or somewhere like that, or even Aberdyfi. Might not far, but far enough. Suddenly I can't do that. Would the owners of the pub be happy with me? No, they wouldn't. Would the owners of the shop be happy with me? No. But they might not be able to find anybody else. So at that point, I could be out of a job. That business, due to me not being able to go there, will then fail. So this plan of taking away from Peter to pay Paul is so flawed, it's unbelievable. I'm not really sure what planet Colin Lee is on, because already since I've moved here, what I do know is businesses are actually having to shut for a couple of weeks because it is so quiet. That means the staff are now losing out on pay. So what does this mean in reality? Well, this great plan, which needs reversing with great immediacy, is going to cause economic and social poverty. And that is then going to be a crisis, a genuine crisis. So this is like the bizarre bit of a plan, isn't it, really? So he says it's going to be better in summer, but actually if none of these shops or businesses are there in summer, then the plan's failed. In addition to that, it's a public transport. It's not his train set to use. It's our train set to use, and I demand that it stays open. Now then, somebody else will say to me, Philip, what about buses? Now then, there's a mate of mine, JK, would say, is that buses are good if you've got all day. Now, also, what we do know is a lot of the buses actually finish about 7 o'clock anyway. So it doesn't really matter, you know, so we rely upon the train to get from A to B. Now, and it is sort of ironical, the timing, at a really busy time, Christmas, New Year, when people want to go out, might go to school dues, might want to catch up. Someone somewhere, Transport for Wales, who has decided that their logic is better than common sense, has decided that's what's going to happen. So it doesn't make any sense, does it? Now, there has been various pressure groups that kicked off about it, and what's happened is a lot of them got in touch in May, as I did myself. So we're now in December. Transport for Wales, or should I say Transport Minister and the ministers themselves, decided to do what they normally do in Wales, and that is ignore everybody. So they go through this pretend game of, yes, we'll listen, yes, it's all genuine, and then you'll just go, not interested, but thanks for wasting your time. Because that's what it feels like, and that's what it is. So I sent a letter. Now, I will publish my letter at the very end. But I will take you through some of the highlights, what I did find when I looked through this reams and reams of paperwork to do with it all. Now, if you do want to write to Transport for Wales, then in my effort to try and contact them, the only address I could really find using email was this customer relations address here, which you can see. Now, ironically, Transport for Wales sort of said the only way you can get in touch is by letter. Now, I'm fully aware that the Welsh Government want to take us back to about the 1930s or the 1940s, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy into that. So if you want to get in touch with them and ask them what they're up to, this is the email to use, and all I do is put a polite email in, please forward this to the relevant people. That's all I do. I did that last time, got a reply. Now if they get overwhelmed with requests, then that's good. Right, so again, a lot of people have been supporting this, a lot of people have kicked off about it, from councils to pressure groups. So, I'll do you a summary now of what I found. So when I looked at this, what I sort of did find was that there's an odd thing here where Transport for Wales in their annual report stated that basically they wanted to connect rural communities. Now then, this single act actually disconnects communities, so they failed on that. And then they had a timetable review, and I was trying to work out what that was about. And it was really weird, because as I looked through it, they said they wanted to grow revenue and ultimately reduce public subsidy. Now, that don't make any sense, as I've said already. Now, the bottom line is, all they wanted to do was save money. Now, it's our money and it's our service. Now, they want to save money, but they're happy for the economy on this line to fail and for people to have economic hardship. So they really don't care about you. So if you feel anything towards these people who are unelected public bureaucrats, the word is unelected, then move all them feelings to one side, because they really don't care about you. And as I'm going through this, I then discovered Transport for Wales had made, guess what, of our money, £26 million loss. But at the same time, they then spent £48 million on active travel. Now that makes no sense, does it? It's like some bizarre maths is going on there. So you've got a loss of £26 million, yet you're going to spend £48 million. Now, the maths say that you sort out your books first, so you give £26 million, get that sorted, see what you do with the rest. No, because it's not their money, all they want to do is get us and everybody else into further debt. Now the other thing is that they also committed themselves, again you'll see in my letter, and this was in their corporate strategy, getting the public out of cars and onto public transport. And this was about their commitment towards climate change and decarbonisation. Right. And they also called it a climate emergency. Now, this single act of cancelling all the late trains tells me, and should tell everybody else, there is no climate emergency. Because what they're saying is, if you want to get from A to B, you're going to have to use your car. Now, the reason I'm saying that is, all you need to do is live round here, and then if someone says, oh, you're going to walk home from Barmouth? No, I'm not going to walk home from Barmouth, thank you. Are you going to cycle? No, I'm not, thank you. We're not going to do it. You're not going to go from time. You're not going to do it because it's too far and too risky. So it's an ill-conceived, daft idea. And I should imagine all the people who make the decision do not live here. Or if they do live around here, it's not. It's actually in a big. It's like in McCunkler or somewhere else, or they live nearby, and they've got enough money anyway that they have to use public transport. So all this thing about climate emergency is just rubbish. Because if it was true, they wouldn't be doing this. Now, what they have done though, as I've said already, is they have literally created a poverty emergency and a social economic emergency. And that's true and that's real. So you need to say, oh, we've created this crisis, aren't we? Good. Right, now in my letter, I've also suggested that because they've failed to meet their own objectives they've set, that they should all resign. Now, clearly asked them to do that in May, but they're still there. So again, they're not even listening. So, what can you do? Right, this is like me tips for the day. Use your car. Yes, use your car. Keep yourself safe. My own research says the car's the safest place to be. Understand and accept, excuse me, there is no climate emergency crisis. Understand you actually own Transport for Wales. Complain to your 5 members of the Senate and anybody else you can and try to get this overturned. Again, this is the email. And then understand, and I'm looking forward now, not wishing my time away, that in 2026 when we vote, what we need to do is vote for a party that will apply common sense. And also empty, and I'm going to call it the septic tank. So we need to get rid of this layer upon layer of senior bureaucrats who just seem to have their own agenda and ignore people who pay them. Right, thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Tick subscribe and remember, keep it going on. You'll see my letter at the end. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.